come to the right spot. It's another edition of Lewis at Large. 60 minutes of smart talk radio is in your future, with guests from all walks of life and all points of view. And now, with this week's edition of Lewis at Large, here's your host, Warner Lewis.
Well, welcome everybody to yet another segment of Lewis at Large. Yours truly, Warner Lewis, as always, from the flight deck, and that means some smart talk radio is in your future. And today, this segment is no exception. You know what? Can we ever talk enough about the baby boomers? We certainly do here a lot. And going to be talking to author and blogger Jay Walker Smith. He's the executive chairman of the Futures Company, described by Fortune magazine as one of America's leading analysts on consumer trends. He's also the co-author of 4 highly regarded books, including Rocking the Ages, a book about the generations now regarded as one of the standards in the field. And today we're going to be talking about boomers, lifegoesstrong.com, as well as what are babies going to do? What are boomers going to do with themselves other than sit around and wear expanded waist blue jeans? Jay Walker, how are you, my friend?
Doing fine, thanks.
Good. Again, America may tire at times about the subject of baby boomers. My gosh, the movies are about them, and if you tracked all that, the books are about it. And but let's face it, 78 million of us, or whatever it is. What are we going to do with ourselves here?
Well, it is a big generation, and it's an important generation. It's played a big part in shaping the world that we live in today, and it's going to play a big part in the world that we live in tomorrow. So we can't tire of talking about baby boomers. They just play too big a role in the way things are going to work out. But baby boomers themselves are not quite sure where they're headed or where we are going, I guess I should say. Like every stage of our lives, we are going to be reinventing things as we move down the path. Boomers are going to be retiring differently. They're going to face a completely different set of realities in their retirement than we've seen for prior generations, at least the past couple of generations. And there are no guideposts to show boomers where to go. So it is a little exercise in speculation to try and anticipate what baby boomers are going to do. I think the one thing we can be certain about is they're going to reinvent it, and it's not going to look anything like what we see today.
Yeah, I would certainly agree with that. If you look at, I have always maintained, maybe you agree, that the massive new sports venues, the concert venues,
right.
They are now, they're not just simply places to go watch an event. They're a place to actually live a lifestyle, basically. Right. And that is clearly in response to rock. I truly believe that. I truly believe the interest in sports and music by baby boomers, as an example. And I would have to believe, and I haven't seen much evidence of it, but I have to believe that it's coming, that what we call the retirement home is now a retirement community, and there are backboards and video screens, and it has nothing to do with playing bingo all afternoon long.
No, it doesn't. And in fact, this is one of the big changes that baby boomers are bringing to retirement. And it's a little bit less about these kind of active retirement communities and actually more about baby boomers retiring in place. It's not to say that boomers are going to retire in the same house that they live in today, but it is to say that a higher percentage of baby boomers compared to prior generations are thinking about retiring in the communities where they live today. They're not thinking about getting up and moving.
Yep.
They want to stay in place. And so this is a real challenge for city planners. How do you address the housing needs, the mobility needs, the service needs of this large cohort that is going to be making its home in your communities, the communities where they are today? There are a lot of opportunities associated with that. I mean, this is an active generation. They're going to continue to consume. They're going to continue to be involved. Community interest is undergoing a revival among baby boomers. So there's a lot of opportunity, but with that opportunity come a lot of infrastructure demands that cities are going to have to pay attention to.
Walker, the city where this is being broadcast, Lawrence, Kansas University community, is very proactively, almost as like a convention and visitors bureau would do, going out and not only are they working on hiring someone to position the university community here as an ideal retirement spot, and they're very aggressively going after that group.
Yes. Well, and that's true, obviously, of a lot of university towns around the country. Medium-sized cities of all sorts, not just university towns, are making aggressive plays for baby boomers. And so, when you look at baby boomers, you can't really paint them in broad brush. There is a lot of diversity within the boomer cohort. So a large percentage of baby boomers are going to move when they retire. They are looking at communities like Lawrence, Kansas, very attractive places for baby boomers. But the vast majority of boomers are thinking about retirement in a different sense. But all boomers, are thinking about a few key criteria when it comes to the places that they want to live. And that's what the LifeGoesStrong.com research was looking at. It was looking at what's important to boomers as they're thinking about places to live as they are moving forward from here. And a little bit contrary to stereotype, the top criteria are much more practical considerations than they are the kind of adventurous, experiential considerations that are part of our baby boomer stereotype. Right at the top of the list are things related to affordability. Pocketbook issues are number one for baby boomers. Cost of living, housing cost, followed by peace of mind issues, as we refer to it. It includes financial security, but it also includes crime and safety. It includes environmental quality, all the things that make a place feel very comfortable. And so if you're marketing your city, or if you're trying to make your city attractive to the boomers who are there today, these are the things that are at the top of the priority list for boomers as they're thinking about the next stage of their lives.
I'm curious as to, with this sense of adventurism, entrepreneurial in some ways, certainly breaking the mold in others. I'm curious as to your take on how willing, when you said boomers retiring where they live, and I certainly agree with that.
Yeah.
I've seen tons of evidence of that. How willing are boomers going to be to allow their children to, quote, take care of them?
Well, there's the good and the bad of that, right? So the good of it is baby boomers are much more focused on community and family ties than they have been in decades past. Now, that's not to say that boomers have not been helicopter parents. It is just to say that we haven't seen anything yet when it comes to family ties with baby boomers. Boomers are much more focused on it, want to strengthen that. And so that's the good news about being engaged with your kids and having your kids help take care of you. The bad news is we have a generation now of 20 and 30-somethings who are facing a different set of challenges in their youth than baby boomers faced. And so the ability of this generation to step in and step up for the kinds of needs that baby boomers are going to have can't be taken for granted. And as a result, it's pushing baby boomers in another direction that's very unique for them in their retirement. Baby boomers are going to be the first generation in the last one or two to actually have to kind of fund their own retirement, if you will. They're not going to be able to live off the pensions that their companies provide them because they've been a generation of 401ks. Their Social Security and Medicare are probably going to undergo some changes here over the next several years. And so boomers are going to have to be taking more financial responsibility for their retirement than we have seen for prior generations. And that, in and of itself, is a little bit of a monkey wrench in the works. And again, it's something that baby boomers are going to have to solve on their own because there is not a lot of guidance for boomers about how to address this kind of a situation.
Again, if you just joined us, yours truly, Warner Lewis from the flight deck here of Lewis at Large Radio. We are in the midst of an interesting conversation about who else? Baby boomers. We're talking to Jay Walker Smith, who is an author of Rocking the Ages, amongst other things, and LifeGoesStrong.com. We're talking about destinations for boomers as they begin to plan 1 foot into retirement. What are some areas and issues that they are facing? I'd like to go back to what you were just talking about, and that is this whole issue of retirement. And we say that Social Security may or may not be in the same form of which you're used to.
Right.
Is it possible also, based on everything you read, that for the most part, boomers have been lax in saving, lax in sacrificing much, not completely, but for the most part? And is it possible that suddenly at age 65, guess what, party's over?
Well, so that's one reason why financial considerations are at the top of the baby boomer list these days as they think about the future. So it is certainly true that baby boomers have financed a large part of their lifestyles in years past with debt. And so they've kind of borrowed from the future, and now the future is here, and so financial considerations are more important to them. There are a lot of baby boomers who really have saved almost nothing for retirement, yet there are also a lot of baby boomers who are very well off financially. So again, it's hard to sort of paint baby boomers with one brush, but somewhere in the neighborhood of half of baby boomers are going to find themselves facing very difficult financial situations looking ahead. One of the implications of this is that boomers are going to be working longer, and that has a lot of ramifications for everybody else. Already we have seen that the average age that people report at which they retired has gone up over the last decade or so. 10 or 12 years ago, it was sort of 57 on average. Today, if you ask people who've retired the age at which they retired, on average, it's about 61. So boomers are kind of part of this transition to people extending their working years. And when you ask boomers the age at which they think they're going to retire, it's always somewhere between 65 and 70. So it's always kind of over that magic age of retirement. Now, the little kind of secret that most people don't realize is that, for the most part, people actually retire before age 65. So it's kind of more a question of how close are we going to get to 65, and I think boomers are going to be drawing that out even longer than we've seen in a very long time.
Walker, I'm curious as to, I totally agree with you. I think boomers are going to be working for a long time, but I'm wondering also, even given a miraculous turnaround and everyone's 401k and retirements all come in, all their ships come in at the same time, it would seem to me, regardless of finances, this generation wants to stay involved doing something. Yes,
it is. And this is a generation that is going to enjoy the longevity bonus. So it's not just longer lives. Boomers will live a little bit longer than their parents, but not substantially longer. What boomers will enjoy is many more active years of an older age. They'll be in a little better health. Now, there are some things, kind of in the background that we're not really quite sure how they'll play out. So there is obesity, and we're not quite sure how obesity will play out yet. But boomers smoked less than their parents, and they were more likely to work in white-collar jobs than their parents. And so you put those two things together, and on the whole, again, lots of variation with boomers, but on the whole, boomers are going to enjoy more active years of retirement than we have seen for prior generations. And how boomers fill that time is the open question. We know that boomers are going to need health care, but what we also know is that boomers are going to need something to do. And how boomers figure that out is more of the unresolved question right now than anything else associated with this generation.
Well, we thought we had figured it out. We thought we'd made a big leap moving from records and cassettes to CDs. Now we've got downloaded music. Most of us, well, as it turns out, because of TiVo, et cetera, we don't have to now learn too much about VCRs. But prognosticate just a little bit here, Walker. major breaking technology as we rocket into retirement that we're really going to need to know?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think technology is going to play a very big role, and it's all going to be kind of passive sensors that take active care of us. So we've all heard about Google Glasses, and we've all heard about Apple working on the iWatch, and these kinds of wearable computer devices are going to be more and more part of the baby boomer future, and they're probably going to make their biggest appearance inside our houses. We're going to have smart appliances. We're going to have smart sensors. More of our health care is going to be outsourced to remote connection with our doctors through devices that we have in our homes or applications that we have on our iPhones or other smart devices. So this kind of technology is going to have a huge impact on the baby boomer generation. We sort of typically think about these technologies as being, the province of younger people, but the potential impact that this will have on baby boomers is profound because it is going to address a lot of the policy and care issues that we struggle with today for older people. And baby boomers are going to be really the first generation to have the luxury to take advantage of it.
Well, let's do this as we start to kind of wind down here a little bit. I know that Life Goes Strong had done some research on ideal cities or the top 10 cities baby boomers are either A, likely to retire or should retire or might retire. Yeah. Let's rip through that list here and give us some, in your opinion, sort of the rationale behind it.
Sure. So LifeGoesStrong.com fielded some research to see what was important to boomers as they think about places, and then evaluated cities where boomers are today according to these criteria. And topping the list, based upon what boomers are looking for today, was the city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which actually scores very highly in lots of city rankings. It performs well on all the basics of affordability and peace of mind, and then offers lots of the extras in terms of proximity to other things as well. Next on the list was Portland, Maine, which does particularly well when it comes to things like peace of mind and security, jobs, safety, freedom from crime, very strong. Kingsport, Tennessee is next, very strong on cost of living. Youngstown, Ohio is number 4 on the list, again, very strong on cost of living, particularly on home prices. And then rounding out the top 5 is Rochester, New York, which performs well across the board, particularly in terms of cost of living, but also in terms of all the amenities that it has access to as well. And Rochester is another one of these cities that always performs well on city rankings. At the bottom of the top 10, you've got Canton, Ohio at number 6, which does very well across the board. York, Pennsylvania, again, does very well across the board. Charleston, West Virginia comes in at number 8 and is particularly strong when it comes to things like access to other amenities, particularly the great outdoors and cost of living. Melbourne, Florida is at number 9, again, very strong in terms of attractions and amenities, but weighted down a little bit in the top 10 by cost of living. And finally, Santa Rosa, California. Again, kind of the same as Melbourne, California, very strong on lots of the extras, but cost of living kind of keeps it from performing better overall.
Well, one of the things that strikes me when I see this is the stark, what is not here are lots of communities that are buried in the Sun Belt.
Right, that's right. And so again, I think you have to look at this from the point of view of baby boomers. When they say, what's important to me, where am I thinking about living, what's the kind of place that matters the most?
Please wrap.
A little bit less of adventure and the kinds of experiential things that have driven baby boomers in the past, and much more about these kinds of basics related to cost of living and peace of mind that are important to baby boomers in the future. And in that regard, some of these Sun Belt cities just don't stack up as well. It's not that they're unattractive, and it's not that some portion of baby boomers won't go there, but for the cohort at large, it's a different set of considerations these days.
Well, that little interruption sounds like we needed to head out of here quickly. We've been talking to Jay Walker Smith of Life Goes Strong, talking all about baby boomers. Hey, Walker, real quickly, how can people find out more information?
Well, go to lifegoesstrong.com. It's the #1 lifestyle website for boomers with lots of tips and information for active lifestyles. lifegoesstrong.com.
Hey, thanks so much for being a part of our show.
Sure.
We'll be back with more right after this on Lewis at Large.